Good morning to all the students. This is Edward Lepcha, and I hope that everyone is in good health and everyone are safe. Let's continue with our classes, computer fundamentals, and any query about the previous classes that you have, any questions, any doubts, you can always WhatsApp me. My number is given in the right hand corner below. Okay, so today what we are going to start is a simple concept known as hardware and software in case of computer fundamentals. What are hardware and what are software in case of computer fundamentals? Okay, so basically when in general when I tell a layman, okay, what is hardware and what is software in terms of computer fundamentals, then hardware are devices that you can actually touch, okay, that you can actually touch, you can actually pick it up, you can actually take it around, move it from one place to the other. Those are known as hardware devices. Okay, basically what I'm telling you in general. Okay, and what are softwares? Softwares are virtual programs. Okay, softwares are a collection of programs that are present in your hardware devices. Okay, so basically what hardware device and software hardware devices and software applications are mutually exclusive. Okay, it means that they cannot exist without each other. Hardware requires software to run and software requires hardware to run. So that is the combination of a computer system. That is, a computer requires both hardware devices as well as software applications to actually function. So in general, to a layman, we say that hardware devices are something you can touch, you can feel, you can pick it up, you can move it around, whereas software applications are those which you cannot touch. Okay, these are not physical elements. Let's say software applications are virtual or digital applications. Okay, that means you cannot touch them, you can only see them, you can only manipulate them, you cannot pick them up, you cannot move it around. Okay, and they exist in a digital fashion. This is what I mean to say. So the basic difference in a layman's point of view is that hardware are nothing but something you can touch, whereas softwares are something that is digital, that which you cannot touch. Okay, simple example of hardware devices: the monitor that you see, the keyboards, the processors, the mouse that you see, those are devices which you can actually touch, you can actually feel, you can move around. Okay, so that means those are hardware devices. But let's say, for example, when you use Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel, you can actually see it, you can manipulate it, but you cannot touch it or you cannot pick it up. Okay, so that is the basic difference between hardware and a software device. So let's see, for example, now so when a hardware device is damaged, okay, so since it is a physical device, that means that a hardware device can be replaced by another hardware device. Okay, that is understandable, right? So what happens to let's say, for example, when a software is damaged, what happens at that point of time? When a software gets damaged, or we say in computer terms that a software is corrupt, at that point of time we can always install, okay, reinstall new software device. Okay, so always remember, the second point or the second difference that we have is, if a hardware is damaged, then always we can go to the shop and get a replacement hardware of the same device. Let's say, for example, your keyboard is not working. Okay, if your keyboard is not working, then obviously you can discard the keyboard and obviously buy a new keyboard. Okay, why I say buy in this case is, in the present scenario, in the current scenario, repairing and buying has the same cost. So right now, what do people do? Instead of repairing, they always go for a new keyboard, which is basically the same cost. Okay, and software device, when they are damaged or when they are corrupt, what do? We uninstall that software. Uninstall means take it away. Okay, that means we take it out from the computer and then we reinstall the same software. Okay, so that is that is another difference of your hardware and your software device. Okay, and always remember, second point is always the connection that we saw. Don't forget that the connection is a hardware can only function if a software is installed into it. Similarly, software also can only be installed in your hardware device, and you cannot use the software until and unless it is installed in your hardware device. The three terms, three differences, remember that. Okay, and when I talk about hardware and the software, like we said, okay, hardware devices can be touched, and software devices software applications are virtual, they are digital, they cannot be touched. They have a specific term for that. Okay, and that brings us to the fourth point. We say that a hardware device is tangible. Okay, these are tangible elements, or these are tangible products. Tangible in this case means physical, something you can touch. Okay, second point is not second point, and the difference being that the software being intangible. Intangible is something that is present digitally, or something that is present virtually. You cannot touch it, you can only see it, you can only manipulate it. Always remember that. Okay, now since hardware device is a physical element, so that means it has been developed using some materials. Okay, and it requires what now? Electricity to run. Remember the definition of a computer. We said that a computer is an electronic device. So whatever hardware device that is installed within a computer or assembled in a computer, they also require electricity. So always remember, hardware devices, what happens? They are made using certain materials, and they require electricity to function, or they are electronic devices which needs to be assembled. Okay, and software applications, always remember, they are not hardware devices. Okay, software applications, they are written we say that they are coded using programming languages. Okay, programming languages like C, programming language like Java, programming language currently that we have is PHP. Those are the programming languages which are used to actually develop software products. Always remember. Okay, and other difference between a hardware and a software is this is the always remember, hardware has four main components. In later on classes we will be looking into all this. Okay, hardware device has four main components, or four main categories. Always remember, and I think you already know this. First category is input device, second category is output device, third category is your storage device or your memory device. Okay, and your fourth category is your processing device, or your processor, or everything that has to do with your central processing unit or your CPU. Always remember, hardware has four main categories: input devices, output devices, secondary storage device or your memory devices, and your processing unit. Okay, or your CPU. Okay, whereas when we compare hardware to a software only has two main categories. Okay, those categories are your system software and your application software. Okay, remember that. So these are basically the difference of hardware and software. If we look through it, we say that physical elements, hardware are nothing but physical elements of an electronic system. It has four main categories like we said. Then it is tangible, which you can move around. It is hardware always used or developed hardware devices. Sorry for the background. Hardware device, always remember, they are developed using different materials which require electricity again. And next is hardware devices, if they are damaged, they need to be replaced by another similar component. Okay, always remember, it starts functioning only like I said, these are mutually exclusive. Without hardware, software cannot function, and without software, your hardware cannot function. Examples are given. Okay, keyboard, mouse, monitor, printer, hard disk, RAM. These are all the examples of a hardware device. And when you look at point number two, four main categories. We will be looking into this in the future classes. Okay, remember that. Okay, and when we look at the definition of a software, we say that a software is nothing but collection of programs. Okay, we will be looking into looking into the definition of programs, don't worry. Okay. Another important segregation of hardware and software is software has 2 main categories, whereas hardware has 4 categories. Okay, software again segregated or separated or classified into system software and application software. We will be looking into this. Intangible, digital or virtual, something which cannot be touched, or something which cannot be moved around. It can only be seen, it can only be manipulated, and so on. Okay. Softwares are developed. How softwares are developed? They are developed by writing instructions or writing programs. Okay. Don't get confused with these two words, instructions and programs. We will be looking into this in the next slide. Okay. The segregation or the definition of instruction and programs. Okay. Next is again, like I said, when the software gets corrupted or when it gets damaged, what happens? You reinstall that same software again. Okay. Next is software should always be installed in your hardware device. If it is not installed, you cannot use your software. Mutually exclusive. Remember that these two are mutually exclusive. Hardware cannot work without your software, and software cannot work without your hardware. Examples: Microsoft Word, SQL, Photoshop, VLC, your Windows 10, your Android, Oreo. All these are examples of your software device. Okay, let's move on to the next slide, where we look at the difference between program and process. Now in the previous slide we came across this term, that is the terms program and the term instruction. Okay, when we look at the definition of a program, what is a program? Program is nothing but a set or a group of instructions. And what are instructions? Instructions are nothing but command that user like you and me give to the computer. For example, when I'm pressing the mouse, when I'm right clicking a mouse, that is one command that I'm giving to a computer. Let's say, for example, I want to play a song in my laptop. So that means I'm giving a certain instruction or I'm giving a certain command to a computer, and it has to do that task. Okay, and what is that particular task? To play the music or to play the song that I have chosen. Okay, always remember, a program is nothing but a set or a group of instructions. Okay, always remember, programs are predefined. Predefined means these are already written in your operating system. We will be looking into this and the clarification of how codes are already predefined or already written in your computer. So that means whatever you do, like for example, when you type your name in the keyboard, everything is pre-written. Every alphabet that you see has been coded. Okay, when you press E has to be displayed in your let's say, for example, in your output device. Okay, if it displays anything else apart from E when you press the keyboard E, then something is wrong with your computer. Okay, remember that. Again, the definition of a program defined as set or a group of instructions that tells the computer what to do. Okay, see the next bullet point. Okay. What are instructions? Again, I said instructions are nothing but commands which are given by the user like you and me through what? Input devices. Okay. And the next part is, what is a program? Program is a static concept. Static means it does not change. The command does not change, or whatever you give, it is pre-written or predefined, and it resides in the secondary memory. Okay, we will be looking into this. Okay. And what is a process in this case? Now let's see the definition of a process. When I try to define a process is nothing but a program in execution. So that means when I try to execute a program, it in turn becomes a process. Just keep that in mind. Okay, I will clarify this. Okay, and see, when the program is executed, it in turn becomes a process. Okay. Why it becomes a process? Because it is a dynamic concept. Why it is a dynamic concept? Because you have given a certain instruction to it, and that instruction has to be executed. Okay, when it is executing your program, whatever predefined instructions were there, it changes. Okay, since it changes, that means it no longer remains a static concept, it becomes a dynamic concept, something that changes. And always remember, it resides in the main memory. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you in this case is, let's look at this. Okay, there are two kinds of, basically in general there are two types of memory that exist in your computer. Okay, basic, there are many other memories or memory devices also, but right now just remember that in general there are only two basic memory device that is available to you right now. Okay, and that memory device, one is your secondary memory and the other is your primary memory. Okay, and as you look at the example, secondary memory's example is your hard disk. Okay, your hard disk, which permanently stores your data. Okay, always remember, when you want to permanently store data or information, it should be dumped or it should be copied in your secondary memory. When I use the word dump, D-U-M-P, dump means to copy and paste. Okay, where? In your hard disk. Okay, for example, if you click let's say for example you have clicked many photos from your mobile phone. At this point of time, you want to transfer the photos from your mobile phone to where? To your computer. At this point of time, you dump all your digital files or all your photos into your hard disk. Okay, dump means to copy and paste. Remember that. Copy and paste where? In your hard disk, because in your secondary memory. Why? Because you want to permanently store your data over there. Permanently store here in case means that after you copy and paste it and you shut down your computer or you turn it off, and when you turn it on, that data will remain forever. That means it will not be erased when you switch it off and when you switch it on. Whereas if you do the same thing, let's say for example, if that particular data or that particular information is stored where? In your main memory. Okay, and you can see in main memory we only temporarily store data. So that means when you switch off your computer and when you switch it on, everything that is stored in your main memory will be erased. Remember that. So that is why we say that main memory is a temporary storage device, whereas secondary memory is a permanently storing device. Okay, permanently, where data is permanently stored. Remember that. Okay, examples of hard disk: SSD, SATA. Okay, SSD, solid state drives, that is currently in the market. Okay, SATA is serial attachment, and that was present from, let's say, PATA. Okay, you don't need to remember that, just remember secondary memory. Example of secondary memory is your hard disk. Your hard disk can either be SSD or SATA. Okay, always remember, program is always kept in secondary memory. Why? Because you need to permanently store programs in your hard disk. Okay, you cannot store programs in main memory, because if you store programs in main memory, then everything will get erased. You want programs to remain forever, so that's why programs always reside in main memory. Okay, so when I take a program which is residing in secondary memory and I take it to the main memory, so in turn this means that I want this program to execute. Okay, when I want any program to execute, the computer takes it from the secondary memory to the main memory. So that means all the execution takes place here. Okay, and remember that whenever instructions or commands switch memory devices, their terms also change. Okay, when an instruction or a command resides permanently, then it is called as a program. But when that same instruction or a command resides in the main memory, that instruction or a command in turn becomes a process. Why it becomes a process? Because it needs to produce a result. That instruction or that command must be executed. Okay, and execution is done only in the main memory. Remember that. And that's why we say that main memory is a dynamic concept. Your process is a dynamic concept. Okay, again, if you go back to the slide, always remember: program, set of instructions, whereas a process is a program in execution. A program is kept where? In your secondary memory, because it has to be permanently stored, whereas a process is stored in your main memory. Okay. So again, let's see. For example, I want to execute one program A that resides in the secondary memory. So when I want to execute, we already know that I have to take this program where? Into the main memory, because execution can only be done over here. Now that program A in turn becomes process A over here. Okay, and execution is done by the main memory. After the execution is done, then obviously what happens? What is program? As per the definition, program is a set of instructions. Instructions are given by whom? By the user, like you and me. So that means a result has to be produced. Result is produced where? In my main memory. But can I store that result in my main memory? Why? But can I store that main memory? But can I store that result in my main memory? The answer is no. Why? Because main memory, as we saw, it is a temporary storage device. So the result produced after execution of the process has to be again taken back where? To my secondary memory, if it has to be permanently stored. So remember this concept. Okay. I think you got the idea now, basic idea of a program and a process. So this is the slide. This is the particular differentiation of a program and a process. Okay. Now let's go on to the next slide. The next slide is, see, what did we see in the previous slide? We saw that a program is a set of instructions. Now in the new slide we have a new term known as a software, like we did the difference between hardware and a software. And as per the definition of a software is nothing but collection of computer programs. So when I combine a lot of programs together and I keep it in one place, okay, so that becomes a software. Remember that. Okay, when I in turn a collection of computer programs is nothing but a software. Okay, a set of instruction is a program. When I collect a lot of programs together, similar programs together, it in turn becomes a software. Okay, remember that. Okay. So next thing you'll have to remember is the classification of a software. Software, again, like we saw in the differentiation of hardware and software, software can be classified into two parts. One is your system software and other is your application software. Okay. What is a system software? Now let's see this. Okay. A system software is if you look at the slide, then it says that a system software is a software designed to provide a platform for other softwares. In other words, what are we saying? That a system software is nothing but a software where other application softwares can be installed. Okay, so that means for example, where do you install your Microsoft Word or your Microsoft PowerPoint or your VLC player? You install these application software where? In your system software. Examples of system software are computer Windows, Android, Mac operating system, Linux, and so on. The currently right now in the Indian market, the system software that is currently used by everyone is Microsoft Windows 10. That is the latest system software that is available in the market. We also say that a system software is a bridge between the software, a bridge between the user and the hardware device. Remember that. Okay, so that means we have the user first, then comes your system software, and then comes your hardware device. Okay, so that means through the system software the user can use or manipulate the hardware device, and the hardware device can only be manipulated or only be used through the system software, which can be in turn used by the user. Okay. The next thing is application software. Okay, application software, again, it is a program which is made. It is a program. What is the definition of program? Set of instructions. Okay, these instructions are pre-written or coded, like we say. Okay, And application software are nothing but software devices that have a particular task or a particular function. Okay, they have only one task to do, nothing else. Okay, for example, let's say you install MS Word. Okay, what is the task or what is the function of MS Word? To create documents. Okay, you cannot use MS Word to actually view a movie or to listen to music. Okay, you have other application softwares for that. For example, let's say VLC media player. What is the use of that software? It has only one task, or let's say for example it has only one particular function, either to play a video or to play music. Okay, for example, let's say we have PUBG. Okay, that is also considered as an application program because it has only one function, that is to be played as a game and nothing else. It cannot do anything else. Okay, PUBG cannot be used to, let's say for example, play a movie or create a PowerPoint presentation. I think you're getting the idea. Okay, softwares which have only one particular task or one particular function to do, those are known as application software. Whereas a system software is a software which can be used to provide a platform for other softwares. Okay, so that means application softwares will be installed in your system software, and system software is the bridge that connects the user and your hardware device. The user will use the system software to actually connect to the hardware device if he wants to use the hardware device. Okay, so I think this much for today, and stay safe, and I will see you in the next class. Thank you very much.